All right, so today I want to go over an anti-extension progression. We're going to go through 3 exercises to progress from a bear hold plank to a modified plank to a regular front plank. The reason we're going to show regressions all the way up to front plank is typically a lot of your clients are going to come in thinking they have good anterior, posterior control of their pelvis and the rib cage, and they really don't. Lots of people have practice planking but not active planking. So I find going back to regressions like a shortened bear plank or a modified front plank can be a really good way to help teach sagittal plane control, help establish a good relationship between the pelvis and the rib cage to progress our clients back to a more traditional front plank. So I'm gonna have Ariel start right here in front of me in a bear hold position, so just turn sideways so the camera can see, okay? I typically like to start people here first because the lever is shorter. If someone's in a front plank and their hips are extended, it's a lot harder for them to be able to control the relationship between their pelvis and the rib cage. If we have them shortened with their hips flexed, then it's gonna be a lot easier for them to be able to create stability and create a good relationship between these two surfaces, okay? So the first thing I want Ariel to do, make sure the toes are tucked under, hands are under the shoulders. She's gonna first think about creating some tension in her shoulders. We don't want her being lazy up here. So I want her to think, push her back up into my hand. And I don't need her to be at the full thoracic flexion. I just don't want her with her shoulder blades sliding backwards. Now, to create some tension in the ground, I want her to screw her hands into the floor. So she's gonna create some tension through her shoulders here. Okay, nice and soft. Then, what we don't want is an extended position of the spine. So show the position we don't want. I don't want her arched like this. I just want to think relative posterior tilt here. Now she has good congruent surfaces between her ribs and her hips. She's gonna take a big breath in the nose, out the mouth. I want her to just lift her knees about 1 inch off the ground. So she's really close. And I want her to just focus on breathing. Big breath in the nose, big breath out the mouth. That's gonna help her use some of her respiratory core stabilizers here. And we're just gonna hold for anywhere from like 3 to 6 breaths, okay? And if she's taking good long exhales and big inhales, that's gonna almost be about a minute worth of work, and that's plenty of time, okay? So she can come back down and rest. That's where I'm gonna start people, first to be able to have them be able to establish a good relationship between their pelvis and the rib cage. Then to progress along, we're gonna do a modified front plank. So I'm gonna have her get to the bottom of a front plank position here, okay? Now, I wanna make sure the legs are together so she can squeeze. Sometimes it can even be helpful to put something between the knees so they can adduct and squeeze, like a towel, foam roll, or a pad, having them squeeze to create a little bit of tension. Again, we want her to get set by first establishing her upper body. So I want the elbows directly on the shoulders, just inch them in a little bit. She's gonna start by pushing her upper back away from the ground. And then to create some anterior tension, I want her to think about actively pulling her elbows against the turf. That's gonna get her to get some of her abs on. She probably already feels some tension there. Then we just want her to establish her pelvic position. So she's gonna posteriorly tilt, leaving her knees down. So this is just a shortened front plank. And again, throughout the exercise, I just want her to actively breathe. So big breath in the nose, big breath out the mouth, maintaining tension by squeezing her legs together, and then maintaining tension by actively pulling those elbows down to get this anterior line turned on, right? This is probably where most of your clients can start. Rather than a regular front plank, this is probably gonna be where we wanna be, right? Again, anywhere from like 4 to 6 breaths, probably a really good starting place, okay? Now, once she's been successful there, then we're gonna progress to a regular front plank. And all that's gonna be is her lifting her knees off the position from the drill she was just in. So we're gonna get right back down. So let's start back at the bottom. I find it really helpful to start at the bottom because it's gonna allow the client to establish a good position with some support and then lift up rather than starting from the top down. So I want her to come all the way back down, hips down on the ground. We're gonna start back down here, squeeze the legs together, press your upper back into my hands, pull those elbows down towards the ground, feel some tension, posteriorly tilt the hips. So this is that modified front plank. Now I'm just gonna have her lift her knees up. Think about squeezing these knees together, creating some tension. I want you to just drop your hips a bit, and then bring your head back up to my hand here. Make a nice double chin. We should see 3 points of contact if I took a stick from her head, her thoracic spine, and her sacrum. Okay, and now we're gonna coach from breaths from here. Typically with planks, we're gonna coach for breath, so it makes the breath a thoughtful part of the process rather than just having them stare at the clock and hang on for time. We're gonna coach anywhere, like I said, 3 to 6 breaths actively through this. From here, once someone's successful at front planking, they can hold this position. Then we're gonna think to progressing to more dynamic exercises like a ball rollout, a body saw, or something like that. But try these regressions, see if we can get people to establish a good relationship between their pelvis and their rib cage, and then we can progress towards more aggressive anti-extension exercises from there. Thanks for watching.